You know what I'm saying? And I think you just out there killing bears and you unapologetic and people don't like you for that.
Yeah, I know.
Some people may say it's self-righteous.
Yeah, and I'm the first one to talk about my own brokenness from the pulpit so that people do not think that my preaching is from a place of self-righteousness. My preaching is more from a place of brokenness.
Yeah.
That's number one. Yeah. I implicate my own self. Not me talking down to pastors. My heart crate dang, boy, I'm about to cry.
You good, man. You good, fam.
My bad, bro.
You good, fam. Don't apologize.
My heart, bro.
Hey, I have this video from Lecrae. Lecrae invited Pastor Philip Anthony from Church 2819. If you don't know the Pastor Philip Anthony, he's been actually becoming more and more known on social media. I have his profile up right here so you can see it. You can go and subscribe. Great pastor. At the same time, I just want to let you know he's very raw. And I identify with this man. A lot of people who know me, sometimes they tell me, "Oh, you're raw, and you're very upfront." And I like that accountability. I like that people actually telling me, "Hey, sometimes you gotta just slow down, or maybe just become a bit more." I don't know, like just have the touch to say things sometimes. But this is the way God made me. I want to make sure you guys understand my heart. My heart is for you to. I want to see you safe. I want to see your soul. When we go to heaven, I want to see you there and just say, "Hey, man, I watched your show at some point in my life. Thank you." I don't know, something, because I want that same accountability in my life, and I want to make sure. If you don't know, I have a few friends. I want to make sure these friends call me out. They so they can actually. I can give the best. Of what I have for Jesus Christ. We cannot give anything that we have not received. And this is biblical. And that's actually what Paul said. Anyway, let's go straight to the video. But before we go to the video, if you want to become accountable, if you want to have more knowledge about the Bible, if you want to get to know the Bible in a deeper way, I have my Patreon. And go check it out. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you become a member. You can become a member for free. We are going to have these rooms where I want to add people into the rooms and make sure we have weekly meeting and stuff like that are going to be beneficial for me as well as you going to be beneficial or you're going to have the benefit for meeting with us. I'm developing a group of people, leaders that are going to be jumping in with me. So you guys have questions. I don't know everything. So that's why I need the tools and I need people around me that actually know more than me. But I just want to make sure you guys understand my heart. Go to Patreon, subscribe, or become a member. Or you can donate as well from $1 to $10 a month. Why? Because YouTube is not stable. Anything that I can actually think of and talk about or speak of, sometimes I have to actually be very careful in saying stuff. So anyway, jump into the Patreon. We'll see you there. Let's go with this conversation. It starts right here.
I'm curious how you address, because you got a lot of young millennials and Gen Zs.
All millennials and Gen Zs.
Right?
Yeah.
And you and I know that the mountaintop experience is not the Christian experience.
Bro, come on, man.
Right? It's more valleys
bro, come on, bro.
than mountaintops in this journey.
Come on, bro.
But when you get a lot of those young individuals in there and they on fire and they hear you speaking and they hear the word of God coming forward. Yeah. A lot of them have youthful idealism and they gonna kick open the doors and go crazy. How do you teach them or encourage them to yo, you can't do this on adrenaline?
Yeah, bro, I think that's a powerful question. And I think that's a powerful question for the times we're living in, right? So you and I know that we're living in a generation that's hyper ambitious, right? Not only we live in a generation that's radically individualistic, but we're also living in a generation that's hyper ambitious. So we live in a time when the generation that I lead is like, you get a revelation from God on Monday, you trying to carry that out on Friday. Like we try to go from a word from the Lord and skip process to putting things into fruition. And so when I think about like the demographic I lead, thousands of them, the majority of people in our church, you already know, medium age 25, mostly millennials and Gen Zs, they are of the first generation that have access to so much information. Watch this. we got so many windows into everybody's lives. So we seeing people on mountaintops who have been in process for 10 years, 20 years. And then we seeing that. I think we want that same fruit in 5 years what it took somebody else 10, 15 years to get. And so with that hyper ambition, I try to encourage as many people around me as possible is that process is very important, right? And that a lot of y'all are asking for things you don't have the character to sustain.
Sheesh.
You don't have, watch this, you don't have the scars to sustain. You haven't fought enough battles to sustain. And then you see mountaintops, but you don't see the valley on the backside of that mountaintop. So it's even like right now, you and I was talking about this before the pod started, right? Like whatever's happening for us right now, like people, you know, whatever's happening, I don't see all the stuff that people are seeing, but you know, people tell me, oh, we saw you on this, we saw you here. I don't see all of that. Whatever's happening for us right now, people talk like all of this just happened overnight. Bro, I've been pastoring for 12 years. But it's only now in the 12th year that anybody know I exist.
Sheesh.
You see what I'm saying? I've been preaching for 12 years, bro. And so that's not an overnight thing, bro. It may look overnight to some people, but it's not overnight to me. Yeah, I ain't see 12 years of tears. You ain't see 12 years of betrayals. You ain't see 12 years of pain, 12 years of suffering, 12 years of loss. You ain't see 12 years of devastation, 12 years of dealing with hopelessness, depression. Can we keep it real?
Keep it a stack.
Preaching with depression, feeling suicidal, wanting to quit. Nobody ain't seen that dark time. You just see mountaintops, right? And so I'm trying to encourage people to say it's process, bro. Yeah. I feel like some of God's goodness is to tell you wait. It's like you asking God for stuff that you don't have the character for, you don't have the weapons for, you don't have the experience for, and then it's His love to make you wait. That's like you and I got kids. That's like one of our young kids asking us for a car, and you 10. I got the means to give you that car, but if I give you that car at 10, you're going to kill yourself. Now, you come back and ask me for that car at 17, you're a little bit more mature, you can handle that. And I think this generation would do itself good if we get delivered from being hyper ambitious and we focus more on the walk with the Lord. And we stop seeing all these things as the reward. Like I remind my church as often as I can, and this is boring, Craig. This is boring. Watch. Christ is the reward. He is the reward, bro. Not the bag, not the mountaintop, not a mega church, not the followers. No. Because you know what I learned? You can have hundreds of thousands of followers and still be empty. You can I keep it real?
Please.
You can pastor a mega church and still deal with brokenness and still realize, watch this, oh snap, you got thousands of people at your church. And I need Jesus more now than ever before. I'm more acquainted with my brokenness now than ever before. I realize, well, I know you've learned this because you've been in the public life for over a decade, bro. Like, yo, you get to all these mountaintops and then you look over and all you see is another valley. And you realize it's not all what people made it out to be, bro. You don't see the backside of blessing. You see more eyes on you, more arrows on you. More people you're responsible for, more problems. You know, bigger ministry, more moving parts. It's like people don't see that stuff. So you got like, and this is why, I could probably get in trouble for saying this, bro. This is why I'm getting fed up in our country with all like the church growth conferences. Some of them may have a place, but I feel like a lot of young pastors go to stuff like that. You get all of these handles from mega church pastors. How to grow your church. If you just do these 3 things, your church will grow into the thousands. If you do these 8 things, your church, and you're not taking into account God's
the marketing strategy for churches, that he's just spitting facts. He's just spitting facts. Why? Because you have your niche, you have your target audience and stuff like that. Not that he is not like Jesus even actually had his target audience. His target audience was the Jewish people, the lost sheep of Israel. That's his target audience. Besides that point, when we go into Matthew 8, he adds, hey, you know what? If you guys read actually the Matthew 8, I think it was like verse 6 to 13, something like that, when, you know, the centurion, he goes and actually says, hey, Jesus, please heal my servant. You guys know the story. And Jesus actually says, and I haven't seen such faith in the whole Israel. And this is why I want to make sure we adding, technically, in other words, that's what Jesus says, we're adding the Gentiles, because they're going to be sitting down with Jacob, Abraham, and Isaac. And they got offended for that. Why? Because they're not receiving the message that Jesus Christ came for, that he wants to save the world. For God to love the world, that he gave his only son. So the problem with this is that we're receiving a message moving into what Pastor Philip Anthony say. Leadership people are receiving a message that is a consumption message. I would just add into it. It's a consumption message to see how much more consumption you have to add so you people can still coming in. There's a few churches that I know that they don't have this model. They have a family model. They have the model of, if I can say, the model of Acts, where they meet so they can actually build up. So they can build up people. So they can go into the week and say, "Hey, I overcame this week. Give me the word that I need to receive. Probably I read my Bible, but there's something else that probably see it. And they actually, they have a relationship with God too. And my pastor actually speaking to my life. There's a few pastors. There's a few people that I can actually say they are this type of church that Pastor Philip Anthony, 2819 is a model, the same model as that church.
Sovereignty. You're not taking into account the heart of that leader. You're not taking into account God's perfect will. Then you leave from these things. And a lot of these men drive home with a notes, books full of notes. You're insecure. You're jealous. You're covetous. And then you're going to go home and put all that into practice and try to twist God's arm into giving you what you desire without process, without dealing with your heart.
And it may not be what he wants.
And it may not be for what. And I think that we should talk more about health than just growth. Instead of talking church growth, let's talk church health. Let's talk about the health of the leader. Let's talk about the purity of your heart. Let's talk about how you're dealing with your sin. Let's talk about your purpose for preaching. Let's talk about fidelity to the text. Let's talk about your motivation for any platform that you're on. Right. Why don't we have conferences about that, Craig? You know why? That stuff is boring. Yeah. Don't nobody want to pay to hear about that. Right. But I feel like that's what we need to be talking about. Right. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody want to come to a conference, we're talking about purity, bro.
Like about you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, this what I like about you is I feel like every day there's a conference teaching people how to kill a bear.
Come on.
Every day it's another conference of this is how you kill a bear. This is how you kill a bear. And then I'm like, but if all y'all at the conference learning how to kill a bear, who killing bears? You know what I'm saying? And I think you just out there killing bears and you unapologetic and people don't like you for that.
Yeah, I know.
Because and this, I do want you to speak to this though, because I think it's healthy for some folks who may have you a little twisted, right? Because I was even having a conversation with one of my boys about it because he had some questions and I was like, I think you might have it twisted. Some people may say it's self-righteous to say that these pastors and these pastors are doing it wrong because what it implies is that you're the only one doing it right. Yeah. How would you address that?
Yeah, so I don't, first things first, a lot of the things I say about errors in pastoral ministry, I implicate my own self. First things first. If anybody will be honest before you critique me and judge me and listen to my preaching, don't just listen to a clip. Go watch a sermon or two. You will hear me implicating my own self. I talk about my own sin, my own struggles, my own failures. I air my own laundry from the pulpit. I don't shy away from that. I do that on purpose. I tell people, don't make me an idol. And I'm the first one to talk about my own brokenness from the pulpit so that people do not think that my preaching is from a place of self-righteousness. My preaching is more from a place of brokenness. That's number one. I implicate my own self. Number two, there are things I say about errors in pastoral ministry, and I also say I've made the same mistakes. And my preaching sometimes is misinterpreted for talking down to pastors. It's not me talking down to pastors. My heart crate, dang, boy, I'm about to cry.
You good, man. You good, fam.
My bad, bro.
You good, fam. Don't apologize.
My heart, bro, is not to talk down to them, bro. My heart is to pull them out of the foolishness that I felt like I spent 10 years doing, bro. 2819 it will be 2 years old. 2819 was founded on January 2023. In January, we'll be 2 years old, bro. It's only in the last 2 years what God has wrung out of me, bro. It's all of the vanity. All of the foolishness that was in my heart. All of the things I was praying for that was materialistic and fleshly. All of the conferences I kept going to that's making me salivate to have. I want to be a mega church pastor. I want to have thousands of people. I want to have a big Instagram following. I want to have all these things I kept doing. And people don't realize it's so undercover. You go into these conferences, you go to all these things, and you don't even realize you leave with all of these desires, that are actually very worldly and materialistic. I have never, in 10 years of pastoral ministry before 2019 was founded, ever been to a conference when they're talking about purity. When they was talking about wringing out your heart from sin. When they were talking about how you get down in private, or the congruence between what you preach on the platform and how you live and nobody don't see. I ain't never in 10 years been to a conference that talk like that. You know what I'm saying? I know this to keep going in and out of these rooms and coming out insecure, jealous, covetous, and my heart full of materialism, bro. So when I talk like this, if somebody gonna listen to me talk and say he's self-righteous, then if that's their perspective of me, I can't change that. I'm just saying right here on this podcast, right here on the deep end, B, that's not my heart. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I would say to this camera, anybody watching, that's not my heart. My heart is, I know the pain of a decade of pastoring with vanity in my heart and praying things that was vain. Even when I thought I was doing it right, not realizing looking back, that was vain. And what I'm trying to do by talking like that is call out error, because we should, and do my best to help other pastors to see that we need to come out of all of that mess. You see what I'm saying? We need to come out of that so we can be the shepherds that Jesus can trust with his flock. I feel like, why can't we hear the Spirit of God beckoning to the shepherds in America? You know what I'm saying? Y'all are the ones leading my people astray. We. Like I get frustrated with people that's always pointing at the devil and blaming the devil for all the mess in the church. Does the devil have inroads in the church? Yes. But Craig, the greatest threat to the American church is the American pulpit, B. It's not, like we were just talking about, the gates of hell is not going to prevail.
That's right.
It's the American pulpit. It's us, B. I said this in the beginning of this year. It's us, me. It's Philip Anthony Mitchell and all of the pastors. It's our preaching. It's all of our materialistic, our secular humanistic doctrines, our prosperity, all this stuff that is leading people's hearts astray. We are the ones that's hurting God's sheep, not the devil. We are, B. So if somebody calls me self-righteous, I won't defend myself. I would say, go listen to my preaching. Don't call me that from a clip, bro. Go listen to the body of my work and see, do you hear a man that's self-righteous, or do you hear a man that is broken? Do you hear a man that has made a ton of mistakes? And do you hear a man that is beckoning to a country, to the American church? We got to come out of this nonsense. That's not me saying I'm better than every other pastor. This is me saying my brothers. You see what I'm saying? All of my brothers, all of my sisters who are proclaimers of the gospel, yo. Can we go back to the scriptures? Can we go back to what Jesus told us? Can we go back to the Great Commission? Can we go back to fidelity to the word? Can we go back to exegesis and not eisegesis? And can we stop blaming the devil? And can we take ownership for our own mess? Bro, have you? Now I'm speaking for me. How many conferences have you been to when they're talking about the purity of the heart, wringing out sin, congruence between what you do on the platform with? Like you don't go to conferences and hear about that. B, not a whole lot, especially not within the black community. Not in our context. You don't hear that, bro. Not. You always hear 8 steps 2, 5 steps 2, this metric 4. But bookstore is less about God, more about centering self. You feel what I'm saying? So can I say this right here on the podcast? Yo, if anybody's watching this podcast and you have been offended at my preaching, if you're a pastor and you're watching this and you have been offended at my preaching, if I've come off as self-righteous and pharisaical, and if I've hurt you, listen, I apologize. Is this my camera? Yeah. I apologize to you. I can own that. If my tone has made you misinterpret my heart, I apologize. I can own that. Hear me. I'm saying it right here on the deep end. It is not my heart to be self-righteous. And when I am self-righteous, trust me, I'm wringing that out in my prayer time. When I do feel myself a little bit, I'm going to go wring that out in my prayer time. When I'm feeling prideful and arrogant, I'm going to go wring that out. But if I have hurt you or wounded you, I apologize. That's not my heart. My heart is to help as many pastors as possible. If God would give me the opportunity to just come out of the foolishness I was in for the decade, bro.
You sound burdened like that.
Whew. He nailed it. He nailed it. And this is actually something that I've been saying. Actually, my wife even calls me Pharisee sometimes, I'll be honest with you, because just the way, I just hear the way that I used to speak before. And I have some I have some CDs that I hear myself when I was preaching. I hear myself when I was singing, leading worship. I hear myself even actually just going to old pictures and say, I'm just going to go into my screen. I'm not supposed to be this man. I'm not this. How do I say this? I try to market myself so I can work for the ministry, or, we have this misconception of the ministry that we have to give 110% for the ministry when our homes, our families are not taken care of. I am the product of that. I am the product of a pastor who gave 200% to the church, and his family, his kids were somewhere else. I helped my parents. In a way that, I was in their ministry. I was helping them. I was a worship leader. I was everything over there. Like, literally, I'm thankful for the skills that the church gave me in working for the church, because I can actually do video. I can actually create music. I play music. I play different instruments. I can preach. I can public speaking, you name it. I can sing, all this stuff, yet I want to make sure you understand that this is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is, yes, give your kids skills, but the ultimate goal for pastoral families, like I said, I'm the product of that. The ultimate goal is to model this that God has given us, and make sure that this family that God is giving you, pastor, leader, you name it, deacon, whatever you want to call yourself, if this model right here don't speak what you speak in public, then you have a problem right here, and then you got to go stop what you're doing and stop preaching and stop saying things in public that are not actually what your family says about you. And this is exactly why I come up, just like Pastor Philip Anthony. Sometimes I come up a little bit as a Pharisee, saying stuff. I'm not trying to do that. My best intention is, even though if I don't like you, my intention is for you to save your soul. My best intention, because I know that an eternity without God is death. I know an eternity without God is away from his presence. I know an eternity without God is simply rejecting something or rejecting God, because probably I was, or you could be, a stumbling block or rock on the road from people. By us consuming this type of gospel, metric gospel, marketing gospel, which is actually, I'm not saying is bad. It could help, and it's been helping. That's the way also that we can spread out the gospel, yet we haven't done anything. And we go to conferences, just like Pastor Anthony said, we go to conferences where they just speak like 10 steps to become a great preacher, 10 steps to grow your your church to a mega church, 10 steps to blah, blah, blah. Like, we haven't seen it. Like, I'm a witness of that. I've been in different churches. I'm not going to name churches, but I've been in different big mega churches when we go to this conferences for that, just to model something. Yet we don't model holiness. We don't model purity. We don't model actually what God has called us to walk humbly before God. So what do you guys think? Put your comments down below. I'm out, Joe. Love you. Subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the like button, spread out the word. Let's hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the month. We'll see you next time.